You're right at the door. Say you're really close to the door, you're almost there, and the person doesn't hold it for you, but they see you. That's rude. When it comes to common courtesies, a good question to pose is, why is everybody in such a hurry? This is episode 2 of the Etiquette Series, and it is all about common courtesies. Why is everybody in such a rush? Rushing through conversations, rushing through greetings, rushing through customer service. I mean, I can understand if you're going to be late somewhere, but if you're just trying to get things done super quickly all the time, but you really don't have any place to be, take your time, slow down. I mean, especially with working with people that work in customer service, it's a bit rude to rush them when they're trying to give a service to you. And it's also rude if they're rushing you as the customer. So just slow down and be courteous of others. And of course, be courteous of other people's time. Maybe somebody is running a bit late and so you are in a bit of a rush, but slow down. Have you ever heard of the saying, God's not in a rush, you are? I fully believe that, because really, God's not in a rush. The main idea here is to just slow down. So let's define the word courteous. The word courteous means taking a personal responsibility for the way our actions and words affect others while showing respect. In episode 1, if you haven't watched it, I'll link it below. I talk about basic manners, which really, it goes hand in hand with courtesy. It is a common courtesy to greet somebody when they enter the door, or just to greet someone with a good morning in the morning or when you see them. It is a common courtesy to simply show respect. Point number 1 that I read out of the etiquette book. Again, I will insert the book that I have been taking my notes on, reading, as well as just using my basic knowledge. Point number 1 is start with a smile. I know a lot of people are going to argue that because of the pandemic, a lot of us are wearing masks and it is difficult to smile. In episode 1, I did talk about how you can see when someone is smiling through their mask. And of course, don't stare at them and try to figure out if they're smiling, but you can subtly pay attention to their eyes and their body language. If you're in a grocery store and you come in contact with someone and they're smiling at you through their mask, you can often tell. Starting with a smile actually serves as a friendly acknowledgement. It's friendly, it's not creepy. It's supposed to be just a very friendly way of greeting someone without actually saying anything. It also serves as making your environment pleasant. So say that you're hosting a party or a gathering and you're smiling at your guests. It serves as being a very pleasant individual and being very welcoming to the environment and making it comfortable for others around you in that environment. Then it shows sincerity. So we're not going to talk about sarcastic smiles and grins. We're talking about a sincere smile. And that also is a common courtesy just because it shows that you're being sincere, friendly, kind, open, and welcoming. Point number 2 is something that we don't often think about as a courtesy, but it is very important, and I know many of us have to practice this on a daily, and that is at-home courtesy. So maybe you live with your family, maybe you live with your partner, your husband, maybe you are in a dorm with different roommates, housemates, etc. What comes with that? When you're living with other people, you have to think about cleaning your space, showing respect of their time and their space and their privacy. Also, if you've got children in the home, then you're setting an example for children. Point number 3, punctuality. I am extremely passionate about point number 3 because I hate lateness. Hate is a strong word, but I'm not pointing it towards a person, it's towards lateness. I really do not like lateness. I don't like to be late. I don't like when others are late. I don't even like the term fashionably late because it's disrespectful. I really don't agree with fashionably late. I think that punctuality is super important. It shows respect. It shows that you're organized and prepared for whatever occasion or situation that you're going to be a part of. Being fashionably late is rude, point blank period. When you're late and you don't call ahead to let someone know you're going to be late, then it just kind of shows that you don't really care about the event or the place that you're supposed to be, especially if it's someone else hosting it, then you're not being considerate of their time. But it's also really bad if you're the host and you're late to the event and you didn't let people know you were going to be late. Then that is very inconsiderate of your guests' time. However, let's talk about reasons you could be late and why that could be acceptable. Maybe you're in an accident or you witnessed an accident and you're late because of that. That's a valid reason. That is a valid excuse to be late. Say that you're stuck in traffic Of course, some may argue that you must plan ahead and try to leave the house earlier, which is a very good tip, but also it's sometimes something that you can't help. So yes, call your boss or your team ahead and let them know, I am stuck in traffic, this is where I am, I hope to be there at this time. I apologize, start without me, something like that. If there is a death in the family, unexpected, certain commitments where something is planned on that same day, that is kind of a bit disorganized, to make sure that something isn't planned on that same day, but also sometimes things just happen. But letting that person know, or the people know that are involved in a situation or an event that you're supposed to be at, letting them know that you're going to be late is a common courtesy. And now when we talk about punctuality, never be that guest that's there half an hour to an hour early, because you could be imposing on the host's time. They could be still trying to get things prepared. Maybe come a couple minutes early and you can ask them if they need any assistance. That's great. Asking if they need help, that's also part of etiquette. But also, if you're going to an appointment or to an interview, it's always good to be at least 10 to 15 minutes early. It helps you prepare yourself to be professional in that interview, and it also helps to show that you desire to be considered for the position. Point number 4 is holding doors. There were so many other points in the book that talk about the common courtesies, but this is where I want to stop because I just want to touch like the surface level of these things. It goes much deeper. I highly recommend, if you're interested in reading more in depth about etiquette, then definitely check out that book. I will link it below. It is appreciated regardless of your gender. I know that traditionally it is very much so looked upon in a good way that men hold open the door for ladies, and I still do agree with that it is a common courtesy and just chivalrous to do that for a lady, especially if the lady is pregnant or elderly or disabled. However, it is appreciated with both genders if you're holding the door open for people. A good point actually was, if someone is rushing to the elevator, you don't let it close on them if there's space. I think it's super rude when you know someone's rushing to the elevator, you see that there's space, and you don't hold it for them. Sometimes it is unavoidable to let it close because you really don't want it to like close on your arm or on your fingers, but if you do put your hand in it, you know, it does stop. Not all the time. I have had my fingers crushed before in an elevator. It is not fun to heal from, but when you have that time to hold it, you know, I think there's even the button on the elevators that allows you to keep the doors open longer so the person can get into the elevator. That's good. If it's full, then I did read in the book that if the elevator is too full, then the person needs to wait for the next one, the next available one, so there's more space. And of course, when it comes to socially distancing, I know that the capacity in elevators is even smaller now. Lastly, let's talk about not letting the door close on the person behind you. Is that a pet peeve of anybody else's? Because it is a pet peeve of mine. I do not appreciate that, especially if the person sees that you're coming to the door. If they are like 3 feet, you're right at the door. Say you're really close to the door, you're almost there, and the person doesn't hold it for you, but they see you. That's rude. Sometimes I'm like, did you do that intentionally just to be rude today? Like, why are people like that? And then if it's it's a common courtesy to just look behind you and see if there's somebody there. And regardless of your gender, just hold the door open for people, especially if they're elderly, pregnant, or disabled. It's super rude to slam the door on anyone, but if they're elderly, if they're pregnant, if they're carrying a lot of things, if they've got small children with them, and if they're disabled, then slamming the door on them, there's no excuse. It's rude. So, which one of these points really stuck out to you? Do you think that these are really important? Are you going to try to incorporate them into your everyday life? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you would like to see next on the Etiquette series. Although I do have it planned out, please let me know what you would like to see me talk about in regards to etiquette, because I do take suggestions. But thank you for joining me on the Etiquette series of Poised with Purpose Co., and I'll see you in the next one.